Hey guys, let's talk about the basic functionality of ProPresenter. This will help you understand from a global perspective the overall workflow for ProPresenter so that when you are a ProPresenter operator for us, it'll help you understand how things work. So to begin with, we know that ProPresenter is a software application installed in the computer that allows us to display visual elements out to our guests. And we can also play audible elements simultaneously and many different options in between, right? So let's start with whatever is sitting in your preview window here, which is what this is. This is what you use to double check that whatever you're displaying out to your audience is what you will see right here. So whatever you click on something over here and it appears here, that is what your audience is seeing. So you have to make sure that your output is on. So you navigate over here to the far right of your toolbar. And I want to quickly explain that if you click on this output button and your computer is not connected to an external display of any kind, your screen will go black. If that happens, don't panic. Simply move your mouse around just a little bit and you'll notice when you do that, a little white circle with an X in the middle will appear on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Navigate your mouse down to that little white circle, click on that, and your black screen will go away and you'll be right back into ProPresenter. Now, of course, my output is off. Now it's on. I am currently displaying a solid black color out on the displays. And that actually is one of the different items, otherwise known as a layer, that ProPresenter will allow us to work with. ProPresenter allows us to have up to 6 different types of layers. That's right, 6. I don't want to confuse you though. So let's keep it simple. You can have a background layer or a foreground layer. And so for this lesson and all the other lessons in this training series, we're going to keep it simple. We don't want to confuse you when you're new to ProPresenter, so we're going to only talk about background and foreground. Okay, so as we continue, whatever is sitting here in your preview window is what your audience sees. Down below in our library, okay, these are basically documents. So if I click on this document here, Go Tell It on the Mountain, this particular document contains lyrics only. And if I wanted to click on a slide that contains lyrics, that's how it appears. It dissolves in. I can click on that slide, this one, so on and so forth until I get to the very end. Of course, I'm timing it with the worship team or the singers or singer. When they get to the very last lyric or set of lyrics, I can then clear it by clicking on this button right there, which clears just the slides. If I wanted to, I could navigate to my next song real quick, which can be I Believe, tee it up. When the music starts, I click all the way through and I get to the very end. There's my last slide and then I clear that. What if I wanted a background though for these lyrics? Well, let me find my next song first. I'll click on Victorious. Wow, look at all this. So there's a lot of items that can sit in your document, not just lyrics, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But if I wanted a background for the next song, I could then navigate over here to my video image bin. If you don't see it, click on this button right here, video image button. Click on the backgrounds, and of course, if you have backgrounds loaded, you can bring up a background, make it real fancy. Ooh, that's nice. Then I can start to click on the lyrics for this song when the worship team begins to sing. Now we're seeing 2 different elements, right? We're seeing a background and a foreground. The lyrics are the foreground, and of course, this graphic image is the background. And that's mostly what you'd be doing for us here at Saddleback. And I'll say that that's probably mostly what you'd be doing just about anywhere. You'll have a foreground and a background. So let's say we want to clear this foreground, which happens to be lyrics. Well, I can clear just that by clicking on this button. Then the background remains. I can change the background, right? Continue to click, just like that. And I can also find another set of lyrics to continue playing the lyrics with a creative background. Well, what if I wanted to think a little more along the lines of a service from beginning to end? Well, I could have a welcome animation playing on a loop, which is what this is here. And to set an animation or video clip on a loop, simply go to the thumbnail, whether it's something up in this container or something down here. Go to the thumbnail. If it's a video clip, I'll control click on this and select media properties. And over here, there's a lot going on, which I'll talk about in a different lesson, but in this properties button, here it is, behavior loop. Make sure it's set. Same down here. If there's a visual item down here, in fact, let me go to video clips. Notice how I can have different items contained or containing different elements down here, but I can navigate to, let's say, this video clip here, control click, and select media properties. And in the behavior, I can also set this here as well. Again, we talk about all these items in a different lesson, so I'll close that out. Now, because I have this on a loop and it's playing, which is real nice, there's no audio, right? I don't see these audio meters moving up and down, which is fine. I could play a song. I can click on this. That music will play. I'll see audio meters here. So when people are walking into my church, there's a nice welcome sign. I'm playing music, and it just feels good when people are walking in. It's really nice. I also have audio meters over here. I have a play button here. The play button's here. I have this little button here that's progressing along with the song. And I could pause the music at any given moment, but it might be better if you push this clear audio button right here, which fades the music down. Take a listen. Do you see how that faded down? That's really nice. Then when someone comes out to introduce or talk more about what's about to happen at the service, you can also clear this to a different type of image, which I'll bring up. So if I clear that, I bring this background up and I bring up a prop, which I haven't talked to you about. This is another item that I could have welcome on like that. And if I thought, well, wait a minute, I don't really see much because it's just hard to see, I could add a Gaussian blur to this background, control click on this, select media properties, and navigate over to effects and make sure that blur has been selected. I'll drag this all the way over. Maybe I'll change that from 1 to 2, enter. Then I'll close this out. Watch it update when I re-click on this. Notice how when I made those changes, it did not affect the output until I click on this button. There we go. Now I can see the foreground a lot better because I added something in the background. Well, with props, which is really nice, I can bring that up. I can also clear that prop. It dissolves away, which is real nice. And I can bring in other items if I'd like to communicate with the audience and basically have them follow us on Twitter or maybe go to our Facebook page by clicking on this. So I'll talk more about props in a different lesson, but it makes it simple here in ProPresenter to have multiple things going on, music and graphics and foregrounds and backgrounds, which is really nice in this application. It's very powerful. Well, I'm going to clear this out by clicking on the Clear All button. And let's talk a little bit more about when we're creating items in the library, we can quickly have a lot of items in our library, and I only have 73 right here. But you can have several hundred, if not 1,000, and it makes it really hard to find something. You could search up here, I know, and that helps. But what really helps is if you're organized. And I know some of you are more organized than others. And if you really want to be organized in this application, you can navigate down to the playlist area and create a new playlist by clicking on this button and select New Playlist. And you can give it a name, of course, where I've already named these. And you can give this playlist a specific name and date and weekend service title by mouse clicking and dragging items from your library, like I've already done. All these items might pertain to just this event. And rather than going through all these items that might be up here, could be up to 1,000 or more, it just makes it easy for your ProPresenter operator to have them already pre-organized for your weekend service. And of course, someone has to do that, but it definitely makes it easier for your ProPresenter operator to simply click on something down here without having to go through here. And then, of course, this is also, when they're here, of course, verifies that these are the items that are going to be used for that service. So that's where this playlist region or area comes in. Back over here in this large container that I was talking about, we can also click on photos, whether they're up here in this area, or if you go down here and you've created another playlist, right, in this area, new playlist, and you have just photos. I had to import these in. You can click on visual elements down here as well. So I could click on this or any one of these photos. Keep in mind though, when you click on an item or a photo, sometimes the photo just doesn't fit the entire screen width and height. It'll really depend on how the photo was taken and how it was set up in the menu of that particular camera. And you have some light modification capabilities here in ProPresenter that I'll cover in a different lesson. But I do recommend that possibly you take these photos and work on them outside of ProPresenter if you want them to look the way they should within the preview window. Well, that about does it for the basics. You are now ready to move on.